Hi there, this is Klondoggy Silent Claws, also known as Streaming Silent Claws on Twitch TV. If you have been having some issues with the Garuda fight during the Final Fantasy XIV Final Fantasy 15 crossover, this video is going to try and help you manage that a little bit easier. I've got some tips and tricks on how to actually handle the fight. I'm going to talk about some of the mechanics, and if you are really that interested, you can actually watch my final take at trying to take this down on Korakagon, one of my characters. I'm going to stop talking now and just get straight to the video. Enjoy! So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark Garuda and the monoliths. I marked Garuda with 3, monoliths 2, and 1. This is going to be useful in our macro that's going to help us move around really quickly. I actually didn't do any kind of movement whatsoever. I quite literally only pressed 1, 2, 3 and clicked on the duty button. Alright, for the macro piece, we are going to make 3 macros. It's going to be /TA less than, attack 1 greater than. That will actually target whatever is marked as 1. You're going to repeat this for 2 and 3 as well. Okay, now we're going to talk about the duty button. You're going to be clicking on that thing quite a lot if you're using a mouse and keyboard. You're going to be pressing R3 a lot if you're using a PlayStation 4 controller. The main reason for using this button so much is the fact that it will do the most damage for you as long as you make sure that you are as far away from Garuda as possible. The easiest way to do this is to make sure that you are at the opposite monolith from where she is. For most of the fight, Garuda's going to be attacking you, which means you can face her away from Noctis. The first mechanic that you're going to encounter, she's going to fly towards one of the pillars and stand by it. Once she is next to one of those monoliths, she's then going to spread out a AoE attack effect that you can then use your Link Strike to get to the opposite monolith. You'll see that Noctis does this as well. Wait for Noctis to use his Warp Strike ability and follow it almost immediately. As soon as you see him disappear, you want to be hitting that Warp Strike button. This will result in what is called a Link Strike that does the maximum amount of damage that you can possibly do during this encounter. You want to make sure that you are trying to get every single one of those that you possibly can. Our next mechanic is the Mini Supercell. This is actually going to do a lot of damage and blow you back. If you are stacked with Noctis, he will take less damage. Once you are blown away by this effect, go ahead and use that Warp Strike ability again. This should get a Link Strike with Noctis. She may start putting down a series of 3 circles. If you're standing in them, that will inflict you with heavy. You want to use a Warp Strike on a monolith to get you out of there quickly. The next thing we're going to cover is Microburst. Microburst is going to keep sucking you in. You're going to want to keep using that Warp Strike to try and warp yourself towards the monolith. You want to make sure that you are not in the center whenever she actually fires off the final Microburst, or else it will kill you instantly. When Garuda starts to use Gust Front, you will see a red arrow pointing down at you. This is a stacking mechanic where you want to stack with Noctis. Otherwise, you will be knocked up in the air and take a lot of damage. The final stage and mechanic of the Garuda fight is actually going to be an active time event. You're going to be required to just keep clicking on a button, or if you're using a PlayStation 4 controller, you're just going to continue pushing on R3 until you fill the meter. So the rest of this video is actually me going through the fight without it being sped up or cut or anything like that, so you can actually see how the flow of the fight goes and when the stages kick off. I have gone ahead and left it unsped up, so the full 5 minutes and 31 seconds that it took for me to actually do this fight from start to finish are here. You don't actually have to watch it unless you really want to.
You're making me the tank and it feels so right. Got my flask and pots and food and we're counting down. We're gonna get the loot and achieve before the nerves come round. And then just when I think it's going well, a healer dies, turns out he got notice spells. Then a rogue, then a mage, and they're all afraid. And I'm picking up the reins and I'm saying we will beat this raid. And don't you know I'm still standing, God, I grow on all of it. I'm on top of my rotation, popping all my damage mitt. I'm still standing after all this time, pulling all the mobs off of the healers, so we'll be just fine. I'm still standing, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still standing, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now the leader's calling for a wipe. This was supposed to be the last pull of the night. Got threatened CDs and we've come this far. I know that we can make it and I'll show 'em why I'm the star. And don't you know I'm still standing, God, I grow on all of it. I'm on top of my rotation, popping all my damage bit. I'm still standing after all this time, pulling all the mobs off of the healers, so we'll be just fine. I'm still standing, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still standing, yeah, yeah, yeah. the boss at 1%. I can hear my guildies cheering, but I know he's not dead yet. So I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love that rating. Ain't no bosses hard. Ain't no rain nights long. Ain't no amount of wipes enough, baby.
If it's a wife, just call it. No waiting for a rest. Listen what the rain lead says.
Don't stand in fire.
Just call CDs. We'll be down in a hurry. You don't have to worry.
'Cause baby, there
Ain't no bosses hard enough. Ain't no rain nights long enough. Ain't no amount of wives enough to keep me from clearing that rain, babe.
remember the kill. It was our first. The never-ending White Fest was the worst, baby. We pulled it together. He's dead somehow. Better show if you want. Yeah, he's real easy now. 'Cause baby, there
Ain't no bosses hard enough. Ain't no rain nights long enough. Ain't no amount of wives enough to keep me from clearing that rain, babe.
oh no, darling.
No bus, no rain, no 100 wives gon' sound me, baby.
No, no, baby.
Yeah, tonight I'll
I can feel it's a kill. Gonna be such a thrill.
Just 1% left, baby.
Enough for alive. I hope he goes down.